Diddy fans conduct a very tasteless celebration. In response to the verdict, what are we really celebrating? Here it is. I'm thoroughly confused. Put it up full mass. Okay. So Diddy fans celebrate by spraying baby oil outside of the courthouse. Now, federal raids of Diddy's mansions unveiled more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's not a Diddy celebration. To the individuals who are celebrating, you have the absolute right to do so. You are covered constitutionally by freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. Your expression is well within your rights. But you're celebrating Johnson & Johnson. You all are celebrating the company in which sells said baby oil that you all have seemingly purchased in abundance. Most people online weren't laughing at all. Sexual violence being used as entertainment and jokes. Society is cooked. Miss Landra wrote on X. Other folks simply said the math isn't adding up. Quote, not guilty on sex trafficking, but guilty on transportation of prostitution. Does that make sense? The key to Diddy's defense was admitting he does have a temper, hence the infamous 2016 hotel footage of him beating and dragging Cassie, but insisting that all sexual acts were committed consensually. More media personalities have shared their reaction. Boosie, badass, react. Here it is.
Man, I'm so glad Diddy free, bro. You know, the reason is because I'm tired of seeing us black moguls get took down like that, bro. And I'm tired of seeing us black people go against us black moguls like that. And I feel like if Diddy was a white man who done all this people, you know, I know he ain't paid people, but if he done all for hip-hop, if he was white, they would have had so many white people out there protesting for this man.
I want to remind everyone, including our dear brother Bootsy, who I have respect for some of his commentary that he said, disagree with some things he said as well. Comes with the nature of being independent thinkers. You know, Cassie is black also. And we saw a black woman being tortured, brutalized on camera. Now, that's the part that we can see. We then saw a white system go out of its way to cover up the tracks of the criminal who did it while he was telling the world that these things never happened and that he never engaged in this kind of assault, making her to be the liar, him to be the victim, and the cover-up of the system continued. Now, the color there that you need to keep in mind is green. That's the color you need to keep in mind. But don't forget the black woman who was at the victim side of the attack. 50 Cent obviously posted, kind of comedic. So 50 put this out. He said, Diddy beat the Rico, that boy, a bad man. He liked the gay John Gotti. And that was his quote yesterday. And I have some more content. And let me explain for those who are confused about how did Diddy get found not guilty to the racketeering charge, which is the most serious charge. And I believe it was a prosecutorial mistake in their strategy. To prove RICO, RICO is this qualifying dynamic that allows for you to basically throw everything and the kitchen sink at a particular individual you're prosecuting, okay? Once it qualified under RICO, the jury then has to qualify the RICO, meaning it must, and it meaning every single crime that you allege, all of those crimes must now be part of a continual and ongoing criminal enterprise. An enterprise. You can't simply prove the crimes took place. Under RICO, if you simply prove the crimes took place, but you can't prove that these crimes were part of an ongoing criminal enterprise, then you have no justification for RICO. If you would have tried these under direct prosecutorial doctrine, yeah, of course. But some of these things fell outside of the purview of the federal government because it did not cross state lines. And in order for you to bring that into the domain of the federal government, you must then qualify them under RICO. And once again, typically, to prove RICO, you got to have co-conspirators. Who are the co-conspirators? Who is the enterprise? The jury seemingly concluded that Diddy was just a guy committing crimes. He wasn't selling dope, he was on it. He did not send somebody to beat up this individual. He did it himself. There was a beef, somebody else handled it for him because of general principle, et cetera, et cetera. They could not prove that it was part of an ongoing criminal enterprise. That's the confusion that some of us are having with the verdict. Now, former Danity Kane star Aubrey O'Day shared her live reaction to the verdict on Instagram story. Quote, "Oh my God, not guilty on Cassie? Not guilty on RICO? No way Jane is going to be guilty. Oh, this makes me physically ill. Cassie probably feels so horrible. I'm going to vomit." And once again, the jury obviously concluded that Cassie was not a victim. The defense attorney painted Cassie as a willing, basically a willing co-conspirator, but they called it consensual since she wasn't charged. But the jury concluded the same. Those text messages, those seemingly comparable, let's say, likes, those things that made them comment to each other, well, they were shared publicly during the trial. So in an update, many have been weighing in on things. You know, Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail after a mixed verdict clears him of the major sex crime charges under the racketeering dynamic. So his lawyer argued that the acquittal on those counts changed the legal landscape enough that he should be freed on a $1 million bond. Prosecutor said he remained a flight risk. The judge said the applicable law did not allow for Combs to be released at this point. Among other reasons, the judge noted Combs has a violent history. Quote, at trial, the defense conceded the defendant's violence in his personal relationships, saying it happened with Cassie and Jane. That was probably an error by the defense. So I'm going to explain my take on why I think the defense did concede to this. What the defense was trying to do is simply make the case, because you can't really defend it. The video's there. Testimony is reputable and accurate. That yes, Diddy has a temper. Yes, the client is in fact violent. Yes, the individual has had some significant altercations in his life. But he did not do it as part of some type of overreaching criminal enterprise. He did it as a flawed human being. And that's the reason the defense made that proclamation. However, he made the proclamation in open court. And because he made the proclamation in open court, the judge can utilize it for bail consideration at any time. It's on the record from the defense. So it no longer becomes an accusation or allegation. It becomes a statement of fact, which his attorney provided, ironically. All right. So LA judge also dismisses Jay-Z's lawsuit against lawyer Tony Busby. This has not received the same level of news, obviously. So on Monday, a Los Angeles judge dismissed Jay-Z's extortion and defamation lawsuit against lawyer Tony Busby. Now, this is interesting. Last year, the rapper sued the attorney, accusing the high-profile lawyer of peddling lies in one of his civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs. Jay-Z, Sean Carter, pursued legal action against Busby after he accused Carter of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old alongside Combs at an MTV Video Music Award after party. This was back in 2000. In his lawsuit, the Roc Nation mogul claims that Busby tried to blackmail him in November 2024 with 2 demand letters requesting money. Weeks later, Carter was listed as a co-defendant in Jane Doe's case against the rapper. So Jay-Z sues him, and then the judge has dropped the suit. We don't have much more information. I'm sure information will come within the next few days, and much more will be revealed as to why. All right, Jackson, hell of a thing, a lot of eyes, a lot of attention to this Diddy trial. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a pretty lazy defense, like, oh, he's black, so he shouldn't be in trouble. I mean, like, Diddy, at the end of the day, really never did much of anything for anybody but himself. Like, even though, okay, a handful of artists got famous, Diddy is well known for ripping people off and not paying them what they deserve. That's a lot of how he got his initial big bump in capital. After a while, he got all these brand deals and endorsements and stuff like that. But, he routinely does not pay people. And then also, the fact is that we all saw on camera of him brutally beating up Cassie, all this other evidence of him brutally beating up other people, not just women, but men as well, because he didn't get his way. This dude blew up Kid Cudi's car because he had an interest in Cassie. I mean, so we're not talking about an upstanding citizen who's some type of real hero. He's just and also at this point, just because you black and rich, like, you're not the only black rich person no more. Like, it's not 1950, it's not 1920, it's so it's just not that special. But he has a horrible reputation, rightfully so, well earned, and it really would do Diddy well for him to just kind of do what O.J. Simpson did and disappear. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really not trying to see you, bruh. Like, ain't nobody trying to see you dancing and talk about being a black man and all that. Like, we good, bro. Like, just go ahead and live your life, do your thing. Hopefully you can get some repentance for some of the things that you've done. But I think it's really telling that how, during this whole process, how nobody really came and rushed to his defense. It goes to show that people don't like him. They just used him because they needed him. Yeah, sure, he may have had a bunch of dirt on people, but at the end of the day, like, ain't nobody really rushing to your defense. It says a lot about who you are as a person. So, if he wasn't as wealthy and powerful as he is, then he probably wouldn't have gotten away with it. It's the system we live in, but I just think that, it's a shame. It's a miscarriage of justice, but it's just another day in America.
Yeah, and the irony is the prosecution, there's no ambiguity that the prosecution somehow didn't prove the actual criminal elements, such as the violence and the assaults and threats, et cetera. What they could not prove based on their own strategy was it was part of an ongoing criminal enterprise, but nobody is disputing that he did the crimes included in the prosecutorial dynamic against them. Very interesting. We'll bring you updates if there's an update to bring.